GameSHOUT Radio is property of GameSHOUT, a company of Red Planet LLC. All rights reserved. Executive producer, Andy Hodges. For live broadcast booking information, syndication, or advertising, email info@GameSHOUT.com. All comments expressed on the show are not necessarily those of GameSHOUT, Red Planet LLC, its advertisers, guests, or syndication affiliates. All music is licensed by ASCAP and BMI. Recordings of this broadcast prohibited without prior written consent.
And welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio. This is Captain Maverick, your host, with Josh, and over there, Simple Simon, as always, sitting in the corner playing with the pie. Hey guys, how you doing?
Not bad.
Hey.
Hey guys, tune in every Friday for GameSHOUT Radio's podcast. We have it up, on the site, regular like clockwork, and of course, you gotta always check on GameSHOUT.com for all the news, the reviews, everything that's print to use, or that's fit to use, and a lot of good stuff. I'm telling you, we got a lot of things going on here today, and today we've got a real special show for you. We are going to put all the other stuff aside, and we are officially declaring this month a new holiday. We got a new holiday, right, Josh? New holiday, yay, new holiday.
Oh yeah. I haven't debated what exactly the holiday is going to be or when, but I'm definitely going with the September 25th will become Halo Day each and every year. On the 24th will be Halo Eve, so it's kind of like Christmas in, September. Because come on, we need some holidays in September.
Happy Halo Day.
September sucks. We have nothing to look forward to. Hey guys, it's August. What are you looking forward to? I don't know. I mean, there's some things coming up, but now it's going to be, hey, what are you looking forward to? Halo Day. Yeah, in your face.
Well, we got Labor Day, okay. I mean, and that gives us a Monday off, and a little barbecuing, the end of summer. But end of summer, that's kind of a bummer, Gotta go back to school.
The end of summer is a bummer. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't plan that one.
Well, hey, no, wait a minute. Of course I didn't plan it. I'm just a poet. It's natural. It comes, just kind of flows from me. It's like sweat from the pores and all. But let's not go there. All right, so Halo Day. Happy Halo Day to everybody. We have a special show for you today. Today is our Halo Day, and in being our Halo Show Day, we are going to be discussing Halo 3. Is the hype really worth it? Yeah, now see, leave it to Simon to sit there and pipe up with a no, because how much Halo 3 did Simon play? Huh? Simon, how much Halo 3 did you play?
0.
Yeah, now he watched over my shoulder just a little bit while I'm going through it again and again in the break room, okay? But the guys they were gone on Saturday, but I was sitting at the station on Saturday morning, okay? And you can read this in my review, but it was just really very cool because the station's really quiet on Saturday mornings, okay? And only people that are here, the cleaning crew, and well, some guys once in a while doing a little bit of work. Josh is sometimes here trying to clear up a few things that are left over from the week. But this week, Josh was hanging around the house. His girlfriend had things for him to do. Things like that, right, Josh?
Yeah, minus the things that she has for me to do.
Okay. Well, so here I am. I'm hanging around the studio here. All right. And what happens? But of course, the old that's right. Yeah, that's right. Doorbell rings, and there is the DHL guy standing there with his golden package. Okay, well, to me it looked golden because I knew what was inside the package. I take the package from him and I go to my office. I open my drawer and I take out that box knife and I rip open this package, and what do I find inside? But my copy of Halo 3. Now, by this time, the drool is running down the side of my face. I'm sweating. I'm like shaking a little bit, And I look at the bottom. There's this multimedia or this media kit. Okay, it's got all the screenshots and the videos and all the the little flyers and merchandise stuff in it. And so naturally I gotta be businesslike and professional, right? Just like Maverick is. I gotta put that stuff into the CD DVD player in my computer and take a look at it. 30 seconds later, I'm done with it, and I'm down to the break room. Okay, throw all this other stuff aside, and I'm hooking up the big sound system to the HD TV, and I'm getting the Xbox 360 set up, and I hear the cleaning crew down the hall, and I'm thinking they're coming this way, all right. But the break room really doesn't need to be cleaned. I need to be left alone. So I jam a chair underneath the door, and kind of lock myself in the break room. Crank the sound system up, and of course, like every guy does, I pick up the instruction book and I start reading through it. About another 30 seconds later, I do like every other guy does and throw the instruction manual aside, and then I go ahead and I boot up my 360, okay? First thing I get is the choir chanting. Oh, man, tingling up and down my spine. I'm like sweating with anticipation. Then those piano chords playing the famous Halo 3 chords. I mean, I'm just like giddy with excitement. Like what's that you said, Josh? Like giddy like a schoolgirl?
Something to that effect, yes.
Well, there I was, holding that 360 controller in my hand. I'm fumbling through my profile, and I'm getting ready to play for the first time. And I'm telling you what, I spent all day Saturday surrounded by nothing but pizza boxes and water bottles, and I just, oh man, I went back through it over and over again. It was just me alone, and I had that thing just cranked up. And I spent probably close to about 10 hours playing Halo 3 all day on Saturday. And I'm getting notes from everybody on Xbox Live going, "Hey, man, how'd you get Halo 3 so early, huh? Hey, man, huh? How do you have that, huh?" And it's like, duh. Don't you guys remember? I'm a game reviewer. Duh. So that was kind of my thing. Now, Josh, you decided you wanted to go ahead and stand in line and share this experience with hundreds of thousands of people around the world. In fact, there were 1.5 million copies pre-sold of Halo 3, and you got your Legendary Edition. Tell me about your experience.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting day. Kind of tried to kill as much time as possible on Monday. Kicked out for a bit and did some errands. Came home. Girlfriend and I were both trying to, we're both just trying to keep busy. Decided about 10 o'clock we went to the bar, down from my house, and we did some, played some darts, drank some beer, just generally tried to kill some time. Around 11 o'clock, 11:30, I think we finally decided to head up to the EB Games, our local EB Games, and get in line. I really wasn't sure how big of a line to expect. I know that the GameStop, that was a little ways away, had roughly a couple hundred people in line. Our Best Buy had a couple dozen people in line, and we showed up at and I know the EB Games inside our local mall also had a few people there. So I showed up at our EB Games outside, and had quite a crowd of people there, which is really funny because walking into this line, all of a sudden I'm greeted by like 50 faces of people I know. Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? All walking around doing the handshakes, the how you guys doing? What's up? How's all that? We were in line. We got to the back of the line, and there was like at least 150 people in front of us. So of course, me knowing at least a third of them, I was instantly ushered to at least the front third of the line. So I was like, first I was like, I don't know if I want to, cut all these people. They're like, just get up there. And everyone's like, just get up there. And I was like, all right, whatever. So we went up. My girlfriend and I went up to the front, and we were hanging out with all my friends and chatting and talking and just being obnoxious and loud and jerks, of course. My typical self, if you ever see me outside of the office experience. But yeah, so we were standing around, and truth be told, up until this moment, I wasn't quite sure what to expect of this so-called Legendary Edition. I sit here now staring at my Master Chief helmet and longingly want to go play it as we speak. But we were standing there, and it's like I'm seeing these people walk out finally after midnight, walk out with these Xbox 360 sized boxes. I mean, it's like an Xbox 360 box that's all black with a big 3 on the side, and I'm like, holy crap! What did I get myself into? What did I just purchase? I wasn't quite sure what to expect on this, and then I grabbed my box, and holy crap! Truth be told, it's pretty big. I opened it up, and I remember them saying it's going to be about the size of a cat's head. Well, if the cat's a frickin' tiger, this thing's huge. I mean, it's like almost a life-size replica of the head. I mean, it's I wouldn't say exactly life-size, but it's pretty heady, I guess is the best way to put it.
Can you wear the helmet?
You can't wear the helmet. Well, no, you can't wear the helmet. See, the helmet, unfortunately, as I'm speaking in the helmet right now, there is. It's only wide enough to hold a couple games. I'm sure if I hollowed it out, I could probably put it on. Don't think that thought has not crossed my mind at any point in time, but I'm not about to do that yet, unless I decide to purchase a second $130 copy, which probably is not going to happen. But well, actually, you never know. I'm a big enough fanboy. So I mean, yeah, we took it back. Sat down. We actually went to my parents' place because I unfortunately do not own an HD television. However, my parents do, and I said, hey guys, midnight tonight, I'm coming over and confiscating your living room for approximately 7 hours. So just letting you know, you guys will be there when you go to bed. I'll be there when you go to bed, and I'll be there when you get up. So we actually went there, made some coffee, and sat up literally straight from beginning to end, played through the entire game in about 5.5 hours co-op on normal, and then played around with a little bit of Forge. Later, finally went to bed. We woke up and then did some stuff, and then later on that day we decided to go over to a friend's house for a little LAN party, which was also equally a lot of fun.
Oh man, that LAN party! You were telling me about that, and that sounded like that was going to be a blast. I was kind of looking forward to doing a little bit of that stuff myself. So you found that you were able to, in co-op mode, normal, kind of get through it just a little bit faster than me, kind of lackadaisical taking my time, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, like in most games, kind of the way I roll with most games is I'll run through it the first time through. I will run through to get through all the story and everything. The second time I go through, I take my time. I look for everything. As it stands right now, there's a lot to look for. I'm on the hunt for all the skulls that you can find to unlock certain achievements and certain abilities. There are some some of the skulls that you find have all of these like special abilities that you can use in game, that you can activate in game. My favorite by far is called Grunt Birthday Party. When you activate that, every time you get a headshot on a grunt, confetti pops out of his body, and you hear a chorus of children go, "Hooray!" I'm not even kidding. I couldn't even make that up. It is by far one of the greatest things I have ever found in any game ever.
That's too wild. That is just too wild.
Now I know Mav has our review written up, and it's on the site. I'm personally not going to write anything up, but I mean I'll go over what kind of my experience with the game. I thought it was an excellent game. In all honesty, it was one of the. I think it wrapped everything up nicely. It brought us back to what made Halo 1 so popular and so fun. I think Bungie, you could tell in the second game they ran into a lot of problems and time constraints and things. But you can definitely tell that this time around they've learned their lesson, and they brought a lot back to what made the first game so fun. That 30 seconds of fun, as one of the Bungie developers have put it. As long as you have that 30 seconds of fun and you do that 30 seconds over and over again, then you're set. I had 5.5 hours of fun, so that was cool. A few complaints that I have with the game before I really go hardcore, into I can't shut up about how awesome it is mode. I mean, I just have nitpicks here and there. Things like the voice acting was amazing. My only nitpick with the voice acting was the Prophet of Truth's voice actor is different from the last time. There's something about the guy who did the voice acting for the Prophet of Truth in the second game that was so unique and so different that it was like you knew immediately when you heard him talking that was the prophet of truth. Like, that's the prophet of truth right there. He just had this really gravelly, raspy voice that just so perfectly made him sound evil. You know, you knew he was evil, and you knew he was the bad guy, and the voice just nailed it perfectly. It was awesome. The Gravemind, I think, is a little different too, and it kind of throws you off. It's like, seeing Tom Cruise in one movie and then seeing Tom Cruise in a different movie, but in each movie he has a different voice. It's like, that's not Tom Cruuse.
I noticed what you mean.
It's an odd occurrence, and it was just, it kind of, I guess for the hardcore fans, it would be something that might be nitpicky, and but I mean, I don't know. I thought, I'm not saying that the guy who did the voice in this game was horrible. I'm just saying, I kind of preferred the other voice over this one. It was definitely more. It fit the character more I relate to that character more with that voice than I do with the other one. The same with the Gravemind. Both being really good. Other than that, the only thing I have, that I kind of found nitpicky was that when you're in co-op mode, you don't use the entire screen of an HD TV. It doesn't stretch it across both ways. You actually have a normal-sized TV square in the middle of your HD TV with the split screen across. So, and I kind of understand why they did this because of rendering and having to. Not to give one person more screen, way too much more screen width-wise than the other. But come on, seriously, I wanted to use the entirety of my HD. And the weird thing is, if you have 3 players on one TV, on an HD, the bottom 2 will fill the entire screen, but the top one will have the bars on either side, the black bars on either side of the TV, to make it, like, wide as wide as a normal television.
Yep.
I've seen this done before, and it's nitpicky. But again, this is just something I nitpick about. I've played tons of multiplayer so far. I've played the co-op online. So far, I am not disappointed in the least at all. I think, especially with this new items, the new items ability is by far a great concept that I was a little leery about at first, but now that I've seen it implemented and now I've seen how many items they put in the game, I thought, had they just done away with like 4 or 5 items that you could use at any interval point in time in the game, I'm sure they would have gotten away with it. But the fact that they went and put like 10, 12, 15 different items throughout the entirety of this game, both used in co-op, multiplayer, and single player, I think it's just amazing. They have outdone themselves. On top of that, you add in Forge. Forge is a really cool tool that you can use to edit up the maps, change things around, add items, take away items, play some really weird multiplayer games. You take Forge online and play with your friends. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this game, and we have barely yet begun to scratch the surface.
Right, you get to make it the way you want to make it. You get your team, your party together, and you turn a map into whatever you want to make out of it. If you want to, overload a whole bunch of guns over here and maybe set it up so that you've got 90 seconds of shield on yourself, so that you can kind of get away from everybody when you spawn in. For 90 seconds worth of shield when you spawn, you can do that. You can set it up just the way you want to set it up. Now, I thought that was really outstanding.
Well, not only that, but the customizability of what you can do in the game itself. The amount of customizations you can have is by far just jaw-dropping. We had a match on one of the, I forget what the name of the map was, but it's a giant bridge. We gave everybody grab hammers. We turned the speed up to 300 and the gravity down to 50%. And you were running up the middle of this bridge, and the grab hammer would hit, a bunch of people would fire the grab hammer off, and, it would
fly everywhere.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was awesome.
I know that, and that was one of the things that Mike and I were doing. He and I were changing the gravity and changing the max speed, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, there's just so many things that you can do. You can turn it into your own game, and it's never, or well, it can be a completely different game every time you play it if you want it to be. That makes it a lot more unique and a lot more different and replayable. After all, that's one of the things that you always hear me harp on. It's the game has to have replayability to make it really, to give you the value out of the game that you really want to get out of it.
Yeah, no, it definitely has replayability out the yin-yang. This is, I mean, like I said, we have just barely begun to scratch the surface of what we're going to be able to do with this game and see in this game. It is just, frankly, by far a lot of promise here. And, it's hard to say that this is going to be one of the greatest games of all time. No, actually, I can't say that. It is not hard to say that at all. I frankly believe that this is going to be one of the greatest games of all time. I will, fanboyism aside, I love this game. This game so far has not proven, a disappointment at all. I mean, on top of that, I'm just talking about the game right now. I've talked nothing about all the special features, the behind-the-scenes videos, the things that come along for those of you who actually plunk down the extra money for the Legendary Edition, or even the Special Edition for that matter. There are a lot of...
We're going to want to hear some of that.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good behind-the-scenes stuff. Red vs. Blue has thrown something in. The guys over at Rooster Teeth have done some videos for it. Who's the other one? This Spartan Life is another one that threw some stuff in there. You also have a really cool documentary with the woman who does the voice for Cortana, Jen Taylor, does this really cool documentary on Halo fans, as it is. She goes around the world meeting people which is really funny, people that I've known through the community of Halo for the past few years, talking to all of them and seeing what makes them a Halo fan, what makes them so fascinated with this game. There's also another behind the scenes look. Oh crap! What's the other one? There's another it's Bungie's 7 steps to world domination. Plus, there's all these behind the scenes looks to the actual game itself, how they came about this, what was cut, what was not, what they did throughout the game. On top of that, there's a ton more. There's the entire cutscenes of Halo 1 and Halo 2 edited together to make one long movie, or you can watch them separately. Oh, on top of that, you have director's commentary for all of that, all of those cutscenes and everything, which is I'm near the end of watching. Yeah, I'm that much of a nerd. I sat there and watched all the cutscenes of Halo 1 and Halo 2. Frankly, it's a lot easier than going through and playing on the game. But it's
sounds like a lunchtime thing to do. Order some pizza and sit around the studio and do it.
Well, it's like 180 minutes, so yeah, have fun with that. It's something like that. It's long. There's a lot of it.
Long
and
lunch.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Every single minute of everything that I've watched is really worth it. It's a lot of fun to see these guys trying to reminisce about a game that they did 6 years ago, but it's still pretty interesting. A lot of cool things have gone on this game. A lot of cool things to do with this game. A lot of cool things to just do overall. I think this is the game we've been waiting. We've been waiting for years. There's a lot of people who said it may suck. I think it's safe to say that it doesn't suck by any standard. I know there's a few nitpicks, but aside from that, this game has by far been excellent.
Well, so you would consider that the game was truly worth the hype. I mean, you have to admit, I have never, ever, ever seen a game hyped this much throughout. I mean, of all the games that we've seen, we've never seen a game hyped this much.
Well, I can't say that. You can't quite say that we haven't seen a game this hyped before. I mean, this has been one of the most hyped games. Yes, I mean there are games that have come really close to being like this. And Halo 2, first off, being one of the ones that is
yeah.
There was a lot of Halo 2 stuff going on when Halo 2 came out. A lot of the Spider-Man, any of the movie tie-in games is something I guess you could tie into that. But you're pretty much right. I mean, this is there's been Halo 3 soda, Halo 3 T-shirts, Halo 3. There's just so much that went into this, and the question comes down, and I've heard this asked quite a few times from industry journalists and people that I've talked to is this too much hype? Was this way too much hype? And something you and I had kind of gotten into, and in all honesty, I was like, I wondered. At first, I thought, yeah, this does seem a little excessive. I know I'm a Halo fanboy, but wow, this is a lot of stuff going on over one video game. I guess in some respects, in some regards, you can start to see that this is starting to see video games become more of an accepted medium in the mainstream, or an accepted form of entertainment in the mainstream, because people are paying this much attention to it, and it's bringing it's bringing more people in. The people are wondering, what the hell is this all about? Why is this pop with a character on it? What is it, a movie? No, it's a video game. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the point being is that you couldn't go just about any place on the web without seeing that big 3. Okay, you couldn't go any place without seeing the Master Chief someplace. Okay, we had the Master Chief made in a clay image in a wax museum, standing in the doorway of a wax museum in Las Vegas. We had the Master Chief his image just about everywhere that you could imagine. Universal, literally every place you can imagine, there were images of the Master Chief. You have not just commercials on television. You had advertisements in magazines and just about every place. In fact, that was one of the big hullabaloo that our good friend and buddy Jack Thompson had a problem with, where a lot of the I know I don't want to get you started with that, but
I wasn't going to talk about that.
He raised filed a complaint and a lawsuit in the 11th District Court in Miami against Best Buy and Microsoft for advertising in venues that were mostly teen venues, because, of course, Microsoft planned on making this the biggest selling game of all time. Well, with all the U.S. totals in the first 24 hours of sales of Half-Life 3, of Halo, here I am, wrong game, of Halo 3, in the first 24 hours, it sold $170 million worth of product. And that's huge. That is the biggest selling game of all time. And that's without all the overseas sales yet. So we're going to see that there's going to be a whole lot more added to that number for the first 24 hours of sales.
Let's clear something up here real quick, though. When we're talking about the hype machine for Halo 3, and why is it so much, was why there was such a big deal about this, is the fact that, yeah, there have been games in the past that have been hyped a lot. The difference between Halo 3 and all those games in the past is that Halo 3 has stepped outside the boundaries of normal venues to which you would advertise games to. Yeah, you'd see video games on, a couple television commercials here or there. You'd see video games advertised in gaming mags, on websites. Halo 3 has stepped out and has been put onto products, onto pop cans, soda cans, bottles. There's toys all over the place. The trailer has been played in movie theaters. The commercials are all over the place. There were billboards. The insanity has gone far and beyond that of which a normal game would be hyped for. I mean, you look at games like BioShock or back in the day, Half-Life 2. There are games that have been hyped for various reasons and with using various resources within the industry. Halo 3 has stepped out and away from the industry to also hype the game to people who may not be familiar with the game. But there's a big enough and large enough fan base for such a game that they can do that and justify doing that, because they know that anyone who sees Halo is going to either A, know what it is, B, know someone who knows what it is and be able to ask them, or C, wonder what the hell is going on and probably find out what this is, because, wow, that guy looks pretty cool, or this looks pretty interesting, or what the hell is this all about? So,
and it's been happening for the last 2 years, not just for the last 6 months.
Well, they just kicked it up in the hardcore overdrive in the last 6 months. I mean, they've been keeping it...
True.
There's been stuff... there has been stuff going on within the industry within the last 2 years, but it hasn't been until the last 6 months that they have really kicked it up into a hype machine. The hype machine really hasn't come around until now. There has been a lot of stuff going on over the last 2 years, previews, leaked information, this or that, all that kind of stuff. But it hasn't been until, I want to say about maybe even less than 6 months ago, I want to say 4 perhaps, that we started to see the Master Chief everywhere. And I'm not just talking,
everywhere.
Magazines. I'm talking everywhere. I remember, I know that one of the places had Linkin Park play at the opening, or at the midnight release of one of the places. It was, Linkin Park. I know these guys love that game, so there's just, a lot that goes into this, and a lot that has gone into this. And like I said, the only other game that I can think that has probably taken it this far would be maybe Halo 2, being one of the first games to have a soundtrack that's included not one, not two, but three major record artists that have music artists who have, Incubus, Hoobastank, and Breaking Benjamin, who all contributed tracks to not only the game, to the soundtrack, but to the game as well.
And by the way, just to make a point clear, the reason Jack Thompson did file that lawsuit against Best Buy and Microsoft was because that advertising was geared towards teens, and Halo 3 is a mature rated game. Now that's another point I have. All right, I know that games that are rated mature are typically going to have better sales than games that are rated T for teen. Now, after playing Halo 3, I do not see very much in that game that really warrants a mature rating. The language was not that over the top. It was nothing like BioShock. Okay, it was nothing like what was it? I just reviewed it not too long ago. Dark. So it didn't have the kind of language. Yeah, the darkness. Oh, yeah. I mean, those were talk about graphic violence and blood and gore and ripping hearts out and things. And of course the language that was way over the top. Halo 3 didn't have the really graphic violence, the extreme gore. It didn't have the extreme language issues. I don't know why it really warranted such a high or that mature rating. Did it seem that way to you?
Well, I mean, Halo's always been a mature rated game. Halo 1, 2, and 3. I think just about any game that shows some kind of a blood splatter and has some kind of violence within it would I guess push it just far enough into the mature rated rating system that I think it all that, and we've also been told that mature rating games sell better. So I don't think it's just Bungie being too gratuitous or anything like that. I don't believe it was. I mean, in honesty, if you compare like Halo to any kind of film, I would put Halo probably somewhere in the PG-13 rating. In all honesty, that would probably be where, in my opinion, that you would see that game being rated as if it was a film. The mature rating, I think it just barely gets it. I mean, there is language, there is violence. But there's no nudity, there's no sexual innuendo, there's nothing of that extent. It's one of the cleanest mature rated games I could say that I've ever seen.
That's what I thought.
And regardless of Jack Thompson's psychobabble and slack-jawed lawyerisms, it's not warranting some kind of up-in-arms anti-parenting movement to come by and say, well, this is stealing our children's souls and desensitizing them to small aliens or things of that nature. The worst that comes out of that, if an alien invasion ever does occur, at least you have the Halo Nation to back you up. Except for you, Jack. We're not saving you. We'll let them probe you.
Well, hey, I did talk to Jack last week, by the way, just for your information, and his son does play video games, but mostly he plays racing games and things like that. He likes the PGR series. My mind just went blank.
But wait, Jack. What are you thinking? That game entices children to go out and race cars at high speeds that could possibly crash into others, killing themselves and others in the process. Jack, what are you thinking? What are you doing? No, this game's training. It's a murder simulator. Your kid's gonna go out and hit people. It's gonna run people over, pedestrians, midgets, clowns, you name it. Your kid's gonna do it. Jeez, Jack, what a hypocrite.
I recommended
does it sound crazy now?
It does. I recommended that he take his son in and get him Halo 3 and go out and drive a warthog. So or a scorpion, you know. At least that way he's got, you know, at least he's got some protection on his vehicle. That's right.
Hey, give me a tank and I'll show you how not trained I am to drive one. Unless the tank uses ASWD and a mouse.
There you go. That's the way it works. That's exactly the way it works. So ultimately, I thought the game was a whole lot cleaner than most of the mature games. And so when I have parents that I know come up to me and say, you know, hey Mav, you reviewed that game. What did you think? Is this something that, you know, my son, you know, he's that I should get for my son? Is it something that's you know, is going to have the severe language and that sort of thing? I was able to easily tell him, hey, look, this game is probably one of the cleanest of the mature rated games that I've ever seen. It just did not have the type of stuff in it that would cause me to say, ooh, mature. Because look, if it was out blasting people, okay, like the Darkness, and then ripping their hearts out and eating them, that's you know, that's mature. You know, that's kind of a little over the top, okay, but this was blasting, you know, aliens and you know, and when we're out blasting aliens and zombies, you know, it's kind of a little, you know, like fantasy world, and it's I have a harder time granting that a mature rating, you know, unless of course body parts are lying everywhere, and this wasn't really that bad.
No, I'd say the game doesn't really warrant the mature. I mean, it warrants a mature rating, but it's not as bad as, you know, any of the other mature rated games that you see on the market today.
I just remember
it's not Grand Theft Halo.
Amen to that. Simon, you were saying something. Sorry about that. Cut you off there with a little.
On the topic of mature games, I just remember one time I was playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma. You know, I'm always going on about Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and my parents had brought this little kid over, and I had no idea because I had my headphones on. I was just playing the game, slicing stuff up with the sword, and blood and heads going everywhere. And my parents were so horrified by it.
Yeah, can you blame them? I mean, because that's literally there's blood splatter and gore and arterial spray, and you know that makes a big difference.
So, you know, that's really what I think of when I think of a mature game.
Exactly, and there was none of that in Halo 3. In fact, I don't remember any of that in any of the Halo games. Do you, Josh?
No, sir. Never.
No arterial spray. No real hardcore graphic language. And even Cortana, you know, she was a little provocative in her lighting and shading, but she didn't have anything, you know, like no nudity or anything, you know.
Nowhere near what mostly you see in video games.
Or any place else for that matter, you know.
Yeah, really.
So ultimately, yeah, when I talk to the parents that I talk to, and any of you parents that are listening to today, if your kids are asking for Halo 3, I would say I'd give it a thumbs up. As far as a rating structure, yes, it does carry a mature rating, but the primary reason for that is that, yeah, they're out shooting and blowing up bad guys, and yes, the multiplayer, you know, you're in there killing other people in a fantasy world there, but it is a you know, it's a fantasy. It's a game, and just like the Counter-Strike and the Half-Life and the rest of the games, you know, it's a game, and if your kids are mature enough to handle that, I'd say this is a good game for them. I think they'd enjoy it. And mature rating aside, I think it probably warrants more of a teen type rating, and if your child, your young one, your youth, or as some people call it, your ute, can handle a teen rating, then I would say, by all means, this is a very good game for them. And as far as whether or not this is worth the hype, Josh, I would have to say, by all means, yeah, I think Halo 3 was definitely worth the hype.
By and far worth it, and so many more ways than anyone could have anticipated. I think the only, but going back to the mature, I think the only thing that aspect that I could see mature rating is the online multiplayer with all the people. That's mature rated.
Yeah, that
adults only.
There is a lot of blasting and that's where
I'm just
where
talking
you can hear
about
the language.
The people that talk. I was gonna say that's just where I'm just talking about what people say, not the gameplay. It's the people.
Yeah, that's where you're going to hear the language, because it is the people, and you do have the voice communication during the fighting, and people do say things. Oh boy, do they say things! Yep. Because for some reason, people don't like getting fragged. I don't know why. And Josh is one of those that he likes to go out and frag them.
I am the fragger, not the fraggy. The Fragger Rock.
Yeah, you are definitely the fragger. Yeah, and I tend to, be the fraggy. But see, I'm not a bad fragger, okay? Or fraggy. When I get fragged, I don't get angry about it, okay? It's just part of the game. I do get excited and have a good time when I, am the fragger once in a while. But I don't mind having, 10 kills to, 12 deaths. I'm okay with that. It's when I have 10 kills to 25 deaths that I don't like it.
Yeah, that happens. Not for me, but that happens.
Well, I can't wait to get back over to Raymond's, Ray Herrera, a friend of ours out in Los Angeles. He's the drummer of Fear Factory. We every time we get out to L.A. Oh yeah, really. So how's he enjoying Halo 3? I'm looking for to getting out there and playing online with him too.
Look. Here's how it rolls. When you're playing Halo 3, you're not talking about stuff. You're just playing Halo 3. Right now, we're not talking. We're just playing. Ray and I were on the same team for a while, Frag and everybody else. He didn't really have his mic on, but we were all playing just random different things that he had set up. So, no, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we were playing the other night together.
And he is a lot of fun. All right, so, yeah, it was definitely worth it. Well, if you have If you have some comment and commentary, I would not only ask you, but I would encourage you to go to GameSHOUT.com, head to the forums, and tell us what you think. Tell us exactly what you think about your experiences, online and offline, with Halo 3. Hey, if you liked it, we want to know about it. What are your favorite parts? What would you cut out if you had a chance to make it all over again? And what didn't you like? Did you think it was worth the hype? That's what I want to know. And do you think we should keep that wacky Mountain Dew stuff around or not? Because I'm telling you, that Mountain Dew stuff that'll do stuff.
Hey, yeah, I have a question about that.
Turns you orange, doesn't it? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, they released the Game Fuel Mountain Dew for Halo 3, right?
Right.
And is that essentially a remake or rebottle or rebranding of the Code Red Mountain Dew that they used to have?
No, it's actually a brand new kind.
Oh. See, I'm Mountain Dew deprived up here, north of the border.
Well, I'm actually I've been Mountain Dew deprived for about 2 months anyways, but I actually did take a second to try some, and no, it's actually completely different. It was actually pretty good. If it weren't for the fact that I've kicked soda completely, I would be drinking it as we speak. Instead, I have to deal with Bananas Foster's cappuccino.
Yeah, so he's drinking his caffeine in a different way.
Banana phosphorus?
Bananas
Foster's.
Foster. Bananas Foster's cappuccino. Very delicious, actually.
Yeah, actually, Banana's Foster is one of my wife's favorite desserts. That's good stuff. But that's an awfully sweet cappuccino. But if you're going to get your caffeine some way, I guess that's a decent way to, get your caffeine, huh?
It's the way I do it. Actually, it is the way I do it. So yeah.
Well, I guess everybody's got to get it some way, or well, if you got to get it. Every once in a while, I'll do that Diet Pepsi thing, but kind of knocked all of mine out too, or at least, well, pretty much knocked off all of my sodas. Well, I guess, and again, I would encourage you to head over to GameSHOUT.com, join us in the forums. And don't forget, you can also join us. I have a room open, the radio channel on IRC, on the GamesNet network. So you can always reach us over there and tell me what you think. That's the radio channel on GamesNet on IRC. But I think it's about time for us to, as is our wont, to swing on over to the wild and wacky, the wonderful, the wet, the wondrous, and the wacky news from around the world. That's right, boys and girls. This is where I get to share some of the most interesting news from all around the world with you. Some of the most unusual things that kind of make our headlines, and, well, maybe not the headlines, but I find it lying around on the floor underneath the telex machine. That's right, we've got an old telex machine here at the studio because, well, our producer is cheap. That's right, radio producers are always cheap. So, let's start out with, this is kind of interesting, out of the Warren Tribune Chronicle. Well, there's your problem. After a 4 a.m. blackout, electrical system workers went to a substation in Youngstown, Ohio, to diagnose the problem. Well, they found it. A man had cut through the security fence, climbed up the ladder, and cut a 23,000-volt line to steal the copper wire. The surge went through his body and quick fried him. I gotta do this without laughing. And then he fell about 20 to 25 feet, according to investigators. His body was still smoking when it was found, and a pair of bolt cutters were welded to his neck by the shock. Sorry, this should be our stupid criminal for the day. Police identified the man as James Leach, 50, and said that he had been arrested for an electrical substation last month, or he'd been arrested in an electrical substation last month, and had been released from custody the 2 days before on another theft charge. Detective David Centeram, he found the death surprising. He said, quote, "He ought to know better than that," close quote. Well, now he does. I'm sorry. It's just smoking. Well, hope springs eternal. State troopers in Michigan, right up in our backyard here, were called out to home in Westland. A caller wanted us to be on the guard, according to Trooper Rocco Diversa, because a party at the home could get out of hand. The caller, named Geraldine, was the birthday girl, and the home was a senior citizen center. Geraldine was turning 92. Now, Diversa made a stop on the way to pick up a birthday card. It was such a cute story when the dispatcher told me, he said, that he had to go out there and drop off the card. He said he went out and he found that Geraldine was even more confused than he thought. The party isn't scheduled till next week. Well, she really did want a cop. She wanted a stripper dressed as a cop. Oh, Geraldine, you're a wild girl. 92 years old. Happy birthday, Geraldine. She's such a sweetie. Yep, your call will be answered in the order it was received. Hannah King, 51, of Milford Haven, Wales. She had a problem with her new telephone installation, so she called the British Telecom to complain. After waiting on hold for 8 hours, she gave up and tried again the next day. She waited on hold for 8 hours, and then 4 more hours the next day, but still didn't get on top of the queue. She was so frustrated and angry, she broke down in tears. The problem is that if anything goes wrong, you have no other point of contact. Well, a spokesman said that British Telecom would like to apologize for the length of time this customer was left on the phone. This is according to the London Times. And they'll be happy to deliver that apology the next time she calls. This poor lady, 8 hours a day on hold. Okay. You gotta know. If you're on hold for 8 hours, okay, first of all, you gotta be pretty darn determined. Alright? Second of all, how many people are gonna stay on hold longer than an hour anyway? Give me a break. Alright, by hook or by crook. Quote, from what I understand, 2 guys were out fishing on Friday night. Sergeant De Loretto, according to Sergeant De Loretto, but instead of catching a fish, they caught a snapping turtle. Sergeant De Loretto says, I think they were planning on eating it. So the fisherman decided to shoot the turtle. But, yep, his foot got in the way. He shot himself in the foot with a 9mm pistol. The unnamed victim may face a misdemeanor charge of illegal firearms discharge. And in all the confusion, the poor little turtle got away. Yep, the big one always does get away, doesn't it? Well, let's jump on over to a Romanian village here. It's a alien sheep is bringing them flocking. A flock of alien sheep has become the local attraction in this Romanian village after all 250 turned green overnight. The owner of the sheep in the village of Ursa from Constantana County called the vet to see what was wrong with the animals. The locals came flocking to see the unusual sight, while the local vet took samples from the sheep's wool and discovered they'd all been treated with a solution of limestone. Now the shepherd said that he used the solution to help a few of the animals get rid of a skin disease. The shepherd said a few of my sheep got sick a year ago and they got this rash on their skin, so I tried all kinds of treatment, but nothing seemed to work, so I decided to use this limestone, and all of my sheep look like aliens now. Well, the vet said that everyone was puzzled at first when the owner told us that he used the limestone to treat his sheep. These poor animals all turned green during the night because, well, it was just a little chilly and they slept very close to each other. Green sheep. All right. Hey, if any of you are golfers out there, this story will kind of be close to your heart. A Suffolk golfer has just hit his 3rd hole-in-one at the age of 8 years old. I mean, I've been playing golf for 47 years, and I have not hit one hole-in-one. And this kid of age 8, his name is David Huggins, he sunk his latest ace with a 9-iron on a 105-yard 7-hole, and he sunk 3 holes in one in 8 years. I mean, at age 8. Okay, it was his first hole-in-one during a competition. His dad, Jonathan, celebrated by buying fizzy drinks for the other junior competitors. He said he was absolutely delighted and jumped up and down. Now, David who got the ace at Stowham Barns near Stowmarket, Suffolk, said, "I want to be as good as Tiger Woods." That's his hero there is Tiger Woods. In 2003, David became the youngest Brit to get an ace at aged 4. His second came in 2005. Tiger, by the way, got his first hole-in-one at aged 6. Wow. I'm telling you guys, that is cool. This kid is going to be someone to watch. David Huggins, remember that name. We have Tiger Woods, but remember, David Huggins. Tiger, you got some competition coming up. All right, any of you have ever been to, well, have you ever seen the guards at Buckingham Palace? People for years have walked up to the guards, have done things to, kind of, get them to react, okay? Kind of, get in front of them, get in their face and things like that. And nobody, I don't know anybody who's ever seen one of these guards react. Have you guys ever seen one of these British Buckingham Palace guards react? I mean, have you ever heard of it?
I've never tried taunting them, so no, I've never seen them react.
Yeah, from what I understand, people have even tried, and they don't react at all. Well, check this out. One of the Queen's guards is in trouble after he was caught on camera making a rude gesture outside of Buckingham Palace. That's right, his hand signal was videoed by an American sightseer, and then it was posted on YouTube. The sentry was seen moving his clenched fist up and down, apparently in joke insult to a comrade. The palace guards are strictly forbidden from communicating with anybody while on duty. The guard is believed to be from the Nejmejan company. It's a ceremonial unit from the 1st Battalion of the Grenadier Guards. Now, the foot guard officer said that everybody knows that you stay still as a rod out there, no matter what. And he is for the high jump, that's for sure. In other words, he's in a serious world of hurt. He's embarrassed the Queen. He's made the regiment look like a bunch of thugs. Now, an Army spokesman said, "We're identifying the individual. His behavior is completely unacceptable." Somebody is in a world of hurt. Okay. Now, in our story of the week, it's not as bad as last week's story of the week, but it is our kind of an ooh story of the week. This poor lady, I mean, this woman is being evicted for noisy lovemaking. Now, how could you be evicted for noisy lovemaking? That doesn't sound like it would be right. Does it sound like it would be right? I mean, I don't know what it is she could be doing, but this German woman, she's been evicted from her home because of noisy lovemaking. She's the mother of 2. Her name is Annika Schmidt. She's 34, and she's accused by her landlady of breaching the peace. In her eviction letter, the landlady wrote, "Neighbors, not just where you live, but in adjacent houses, are complaining regularly of clearly sexually motivated, loud disturbances of the peace." Well, she admits, okay, there could have been times that I was a little loud, but not so loud that everyone in the house could hear. My boyfriend totally has normal sex. Well, under German law, being noisy tenant is a serious offense, but Miss Schmidt feels that she's been bullied, and she says she's just an old fogey anyway. She pulls down her shutters at night and everything. Well, she's moved out under accordance with the eviction notice, but oh well. That's a wacky news for this week, and we thank you for joining us on GameSHOUT Radio, and this is our special show for this week. On behalf of Josh and Simon, guys,
sayonara.
See you in Halo 3.
I want to thank you for joining us. And
see everyone who's not in Halo 3.
We will look forward to seeing you next week. Same GameSHOUT time, same GameSHOUT channel. See ya.
This is GameSHOUT Radio, the #1 talk game station in the world. Visit GameSHOUT.com for more info. GameSHOUT. GameSHOUT.